Hello, hello, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Protecting the Vision. And tonight, we got a great guest speaker that's going to be with us tonight. I'll introduce her later to the show and bring her on, and we'll learn a little bit more about her. But before we do that, just want to tell you a little bit about who we are as a National Optometric Foundation. I am the treasurer, Dr. Timothy Brown, for the National Optometric Foundation. The National Optometric Foundation is the financial arm supporting the National Optometric Association in various ways. We support students who are going to optometry school, currently studying optometry, looking to become an optometrist in the future. We support students who are thinking about going into optometry school. They may be in high school, and we try to go in and find ways to support them and encourage them and give them guidance about their career as an optometrist. We support the National Optometric Association each year that they're doing their annual convention. We tag along with them and we provide free eye exams to the community wherever that convention is held. And we also partner with great supporting companies such as VSP, who provide frames and lenses for so many people to get glasses when we're doing those free eye exams at the annual event, Serve Where You Go. And this year we'll be in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, for our National Optometric Association convention in the month of July. We ask that you guys, if you can, whether you're an optometrist or an optician or an optometrist technician, you can come out and lend a helping hand as we serve the community during the National Optometric Association convention. We also want to support our community in various ways by educating them, educating communities about the three silent killers of your vision. That is hypertensive retinopathy, glaucoma, and diabetic retinopathy as well. And we like to extend that education out. We have community leaders who have been so helpful in helping us in their communities educate men, women, young and old, in their church, their community, their schools, their fraternities, sororities. We thank you so much, community leaders, for partnering with the NOF in doing that educational moment with your surrounding people as well there. We also try to provide scholarships to students to support them as they're going through school, wanting to go to the NOA convention, travel scholarships. And we thank our donors, we thank our sponsors who have given the finances to allow the NOF and the NOA to continue to do these great things that we've been doing for many years. And I want to also tell you a little bit about how you can connect with us. We have a website, nationaloptometricfoundation.com. If you want to connect with us, learn more about the officers, and also if you want to become a member of the NOF or you want to be a friend of the NOF, you can find information there as well, or reach out and contact us. We also have a Facebook page that you can connect with us. Go and like our Facebook page. We have information that we will post there. We also have a YouTube channel. You can watch the previous webinars that we've done on our YouTube channel as well. We ask that you go and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can be a part of that as well. And if you would like to give, we have a Cash App, $ Protecting the Vision, where you can give and allow us to continue to do the great things that we're doing for students and also for the community. Thank you guys again for tuning in. My name is Dr. Timothy Brown, treasurer for the NOF, and I'm excited to bring to you tonight a great topic: promoting mental well-being among the elderly. Yes, we're going to talk about the generation that is sometimes forgotten. Yes, we're going to learn about how we could be supportive. We're going to learn about how they're living. We're going to learn about how we can be better caregivers for the elderly. And we also have a great guest speaker that's going to help guide us in the right direction for how we can do those things. And I want to welcome her to the show, and that's Miss Keisha Hayes. Keisha, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you on as one of our guest speakers here. There you are. It's so great to see you, to have you on here as our guest speaker tonight. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much, first of all, for allowing me to be here. And thank you to National Optometric Foundation for hosting these shows to educate people. I'm doing great. So I'm excited about what we're talking about today.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to hearing all the great things that you're sharing. I have some questions that I want to ask you when it comes to caring for our elderly, learning more about them, learning how we could be supportive to them, all of those great things, because I know you have a lot of experience. And I want you to just take a moment to introduce yourself to our listening audience so that they can get to know more about you, who you are, what you do on a daily or a weekly basis when it comes to caring for our elderly, if you would, please.
Definitely would love to. So I own Caring for Aging Beauties. It's a nonprofit that shows social engagement and companionship to our older adults. So Aging Beauty is nothing to do with gender. The definition of an aging beauty is a person with exemplary wisdom who should be celebrated and valued daily. So we get to make sure that people are living their best life. So we host different activities throughout the year. Our major activity is the Senior and Caregiver Expo, where we pull everybody together in one place to have resources and entities and people there to share what they have for elderly, because elderly may not know, caregivers may not know as well. And then we have the Caregiver Gala that celebrates those who care for those that have paved the way for us. So we're excited to be able to do something positive for our older adults since they have done so much for us.
Right. A lot of people are saying make room for the young, make room for our future leaders. But we need to remember those who have paved the way, those who have
That's right.
contributed to society. They've
Yes,
put in the work, they've paved the way so that we can have some opportunities here that we have today that would not necessarily be in place if our elderly didn't do their part when they were coming along. So
that's
this is
exactly
a
right.
great webinar to pay tribute to our elderly and the people who are wise. They've had these experiences. They've gone through the struggles. They've gone through the challenges. And if we would take time and sit and talk with them, we can learn a few things before we get out there and take action and fall in and in an area that we could have avoided if only we've taken time to talk with those who've already been there. Right?
That's exactly right. You said a mouthful. I was at the grocery store one day, and there was this elderly person who was coming out. They were fumbling their groceries, and there were a couple of young people that were behind them. They didn't even stop to help them pick the items up. At a ball game once, a girl did not even help the older person up the steps. As a matter of fact, they were too busy fussing about the fact that the elderly was taking so long, and they were trying to get up the steps of the stadium to get to their seat. It's like there's no respect anymore for our older population. But when I talk to people who are in other countries, they never talk about assisted living homes, nursing homes. They say when we are at the stage where we need our parents, our loved ones to be cared for, we bring them home with us. So the respect that other countries have for older adults really are different from what we have in the United States. Not that all people do that, but I think we need to go back to our foundation, the foundation where when we grew up, like you said, the wisdom that was imparted to us, it helped us to prevent things that we might necessarily not have gone through because we heard our older adults talk to us about it. I think that they're very vital. I used to look at them, and you see someone aging, someone, that you feel appears old, decrepit, and going to die, but really, the older adults shouldn't be looked at as that. They should be looked at as valuable individuals who are vital to our society. And because of them taking seats or standing or moving to the front of the bus or whatever the case may be, now we get to sit at some of the tables that we're at now.
Absolutely. That's very important there. And that's the generation that should not be forgotten. I can remember in high school, I had to do a senior project, and my senior project was spending time with the elderly.
Wow.
Spent time with a young lady who had glaucoma, so she
Uh-huh.
couldn't see well. So I did her grocery shopping. I did some of the cleaning, rearranging furniture in her house, and she was like so surprised that someone of my age was spending time with someone her age, and I've learned so much. I shared time with her until her passing, and we laugh, we talk, and I'll never forget those days there. And it brought me joy, and it brought her joy as well. Just spending time with her, and I've learned so much from spending time with other elderly people, as far as my customers, and my business that I do, or if they come to
Mhm.
the office, just having that discussion. And what I've learned is that there's a great appreciation from them because we are doing that. We're spending time with them.
That's right. There's this program, and I hope that all of y'all have heard about it. It's called Meals on Wheels. And most of the time, you have your council on aging that has those programs that you can utilize throughout your community. So when I served on the Kershaw County Council on Aging, Meals on Wheels allows you to combat hunger, of course, in elderly, but also the people that are delivering the meals to them, they become friends. So I remember delivering meals, and when you go in to take the meals, they really don't care about the meal. They care about the fact that you are coming in there and it's a person,
Right.
another human connection that they can
Yes.
talk to. So sometimes when you get to the door, they're like, "Hey, come on in, baby. Can you
Right.
pass me my remote control?" And then next thing you know, you're in there talking for 20 minutes, but you got to go because you got to get the meals to everybody else. But they
Right.
want that companionship, and I can't wait to talk about how companionship, or the lack of, how it really affects their health outcomes in a
Yeah.
negative way if they don't get it. So
Right.
this is a very important topic, and I'm glad I'm on here today to discuss it.
I am too, and I can agree with you because when I did my Avon deliveries,
Oh,
a
that's
stop
right.
that should have a stop that should have taken me 3 minutes ended up being 30 minutes because when you walk in that door, they're so happy to see someone, that human connection. Sometimes I was the only person that some of my elderly customers saw on a weekly basis, so they really appreciated having someone to talk to, having someone that maybe they can ask a few questions, that was non Avon related. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Do just questions that's on their mind and they wanted to express that, they wanted to get that off of their mind. And I was that person, and too often I find that to be true. Family members are not going to see those who have aged and they are sometimes forgotten, and then you have other people somehow or another that get connected and they stop by, and that just makes the day for that person, so I'm excited to talk about this, and we'll get into letting you share some information that you may have. But one of the questions on my mind is, what are some, well, you would say, some key components of well-being for elderly individuals? And I want to know, why do you think it's important to address those key components comprehensively there?
Okay. So if you see me looking down, anytime I'm doing a show, I want to be prepared.
Yes,
Just like heaven is a prepared place for prepared
that's
people, I
right.
want to be prepared when I get on the show. So I'm looking down because I'm giving you notes because I don't know everything.
And that's totally
I'll be
fine.
lying if I do. Okay. So
Yes,
first of all, when we talk about well-being, we are talking about our overall self. Okay. And mind, body, and soul. We cannot have one thing intact without the other. So when we talk about older adults, we are talking about the feelings of happiness that they have, the contentment, the fulfillment that they've had in their life. No one is in control of our happiness and our contentment and our fulfillment except us. However, when we age, older adults, they they sometimes have no one around. And as you said, those things can lead to other um, things falling apart. Okay. So when we talk about well being, we talk about physical, we're talking about mental, we're talking about emotional and social aspects. And studies, they show that if you address these components, it leads to better health outcomes and it improves their quality of life. Okay, so just imagine an older adult who never gets to see anybody or doesn't have any of these things intact. Then they're not worried about whether or not they're going to take their blood pressure medicine or their diabetic medicine. They really don't care because they feel lonely, they feel left alone, they feel isolated. So they really don't care what happens to them. But statistically, there was a study published, and it was in the Journal of Aging and Health, and it says that seniors who reported high levels of well-being had a 30% lower risk of mortality. And this was over an 8 to 9 year follow-up period compared to those that had lower well-being scores. So it shows that when you are taking care of yourself, your whole self, that's why in patient care, caregivers are so important. Caregivers are the key components to the elderly because they are taking care of a person in a holistic approach. They're taking care of that person, meeting their physical, their mental, their spiritual being. And what you do for Timothy, you may not be able to do for Nate or John or someone else. You got to approach it for what that person needs in particular. So when our caregivers do that, they are setting a precedence that I care about you, I care about all of you, and that makes a person feel happy. Just think about how it makes you feel when everything in your life is in place. You feel that happiness, that contentment, because everything is connected. So we really need to have conversations more often with our older adults so that they know how these correlate and connect.
Wow, I tell you that you're hitting some key points. Some golden nuggets are dropping. And so if you guys are listening out there and you want to make comments, go ahead, make those comments. We'll recognize your comments, your questions that you may have. But she's dropping some key nuggets. And I can think about one of my friends, and I'm telling you, I have friends that's 1 year old and I have friends that's 90 plus years old. Okay, so one of my friends here, she's 90 years
Wow,
old, and this lady is still active in
that's
the
great.
community, active with her own business versus staying at home, you know. So I talk about her because her children prefers that she move in with them. She prefers to keep her independence because it makes her happy. And I heard you talk
Yeah,
about happiness, dealing with well-being.
yeah,
You know, so I believe that, you know, her with her husband passing years ago, she's
mm,
been able to continue and be happy and living and enjoying life is because she is staying active. You know, the work that she continues to do, the people that she come in contact with,
yeah.
I see her on a weekly basis. She's happy to see me. We talk a lot, we share things, and we help each other. She said, I tell my children that you're their brother, you know, because she said,
That's
you
so
probably know more about me than my children know because we have that connection. We're having that communication. We're building that relationship. So
great.
I think that's very important, you know, to what you just said,
It
because it
is.
brings that happiness.
And when you just talked just now, first of all, I want to address the fact that that 90-year-old did not let the passing of her husband stop her from being active. I can only imagine how that person felt. But sometimes older adults, they do let a traumatic situation happen, and it causes them to have to rely on someone else. Fortunately, this person had a get up and go about themselves and they wanted to keep on. The independence, people need to realize when you have an older adult, a loved one that's in your family, that wants to remain independent, let them. You know,
Yeah.
we all heard the saying, if you don't use it, you'll lose
You
it.
lose it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why come live with us when the person is still able to care for themselves and do for themselves? We only need to let them not be independent when we know that there's a situation that puts them in danger and allows them to hurt more than help and build themselves up. So independence should be, we should value that even when we're caregivers and we're in the assisted living homes, nursing homes, or in the home caring for older adults. Let them be as independent as we want. Sometimes we get busy. I'm a nurse. I was a CNA. We have about 10 to 12 patients we got to take care of. So we don't really want to let them do things for themselves because it takes longer than when we would do it. But if we don't let them do it, they lose their independence and they rely on us. We need to let them keep that because they're already having to struggle with letting someone else care for them in the first place. They need to feel like they have a say and a part in that.
I agree with you. And I've had to learn to let my mother, I don't know if you're listening, mom, but I had to learn to let my mom be independent because I call her the road runner because she's constantly moving out about, despite some challenges that she may be facing, she's on the move. And I think it has done a lot for her, being active, socially engaged with
Yes.
other people, going to church as well, and still doing for other people, including her grandchildren
Mhm.
there as well, So I've learned to let my mom be active versus being isolated at home alone. Uh,
That's
and speaking
right.
of and speaking of isolation, maybe this will help drive you into the other topic there. I was just wondering, how does social isolation impact the well-being of our older adults there? And are there any strategies that we can use or we can employ to promote social connection and engagement among our elderly people, family
Oh,
members?
absolutely. Um, I don't know if studies have changed, but 1 in 4 seniors are said to be lonely, to feel isolated. That's a lot. Okay. And I'm telling you, when I think about isolation or I think about loneliness, I think about depression and mental health immediately. Okay. So social isolation among older adults, it's been linked to increased risk of depression, okay, and cognitive decline and mortality. I keep saying mortality because depression and things that's happening with your mental health can lead to death. Okay. So, I read a lot about what the AARP Foundation discusses, but around 17% of adults age 65 and older are socially isolated. What we can do, first of all, is starting with ourselves and our families and the things that we know to do. Go visit your loved ones, spend time with them, make sure that they're involved with activities on a regular basis. Okay. If you are a community, make sure that you have something in your plan or entities in your community that offer these programs. So I'm glad that Caring for Aging Beauty's nonprofit does things to keep people connected because we're helping to close the gap around this percentage. Um, but to promote it, we need interventions like the senior community centers that are around. So thankful for all the council on aging, the area agencies that work with aging folks. There's so many other things or other people and entities that do that as well. Volunteer opportunities. You want to be a volunteer, you can go out and play games with seniors. You can connect with these nursing homes, assisted living communities, or get with agencies that provide support to older adults to be able to do that. And technology training for communication because they can have video calling,
Yeah.
FaceTime, um, StreamYard, YouTube,
Yeah.
all these things, they can stay connected because it's no excuse for the fact that you might be in um, Georgia and your parent is in Texas, and you can't spend time. We are in the world of tech savvy, so you
Right.
should be able to stay connected. So all of these things and more are how we can do it. But visualize this for a moment. I'm an older adult. I'm 65 or older. I'm sitting in a chair, a wheelchair, a mobile chair that I can maneuver. I'm in my house. Nobody's with me. The doors are closed. I'm in my house alone. No one around, nobody to talk to. I'm in a rural area. I don't have internet. The TV doesn't work. I don't hear nothing all day.
So,
And all I'm hearing is, or all I'm seeing is are walls or the passing of vehicles that's coming up and down the road. And I'm looking like, okay, all the things that I put forth in life or in the world to help other people, and now I don't have anybody coming to help me, even my own children. So why do I even exist? Why should I even stay on this earth? So now I'm depressed and mentally I just do not feel like I need to live. So here you go, mortality rates increase. So it is a link, and it's all connected.
wow. Wow. So it seems that we are saying adults, young generation, we need to make sure that we put it in our calendar,
Mhm.
making time to go see our elderly family members so they
Right,
are not isolated. So they're not only hearing their voice in their house all throughout the day, all throughout the week, and sadly, all throughout the month.
that's right.
We need to put forth an effort to visit our elderly family members. Calling them is good, but make sure that you do some FaceTiming. If distance separates you all, do some FaceTiming. If there's one thing that COVID has taught us is that technology exists where we can still be connected to our family members. We can see
Now you
them,
emphasize
we
with
can
that.
talk to them. That technology is out there, and we need to use it to make sure that we're staying connected. Now, during COVID, we put forth great effort to connect it with family members because there was a void. Well,
Right.
we didn't go visit. We didn't want certain people coming by the house because they could, compromise our elderly. And we have fallen away now that things are a little bit better with keeping that connection. And what we're trying to encourage you and tell you today is that we need to stay connected. A lot
Yes.
of our elderly, they're out there feeling lonely, they're feeling isolated, and they need the family members to break that stage of isolation.
And I heard you say something, and I'm sorry, before I forget it. I heard you say something that phone calls are okay, but you need to lay eyes on them, because when you lay eyes on a person, you can see something that you can't see over the phone.
That's right.
Even if you do a video call, you can't see everything. So why do we want our sight to be on them? Because if you're visiting someone, whether they're in a home or whatever other entity they're in, you get to see head to toe what's going on. You can see any drainage from the. I'm a nurse, so I'm going there, but
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
teaching you
Paint the
and other
picture.
people.
Paint the picture, nurse.
Okay, so you can see if there's drainage coming out of their skin or eyes, nose, ears, or whatever. You can look and see if they're lethargic, weak, not responding as well as they used to. You can look in the refrigerator to see if they have or don't have any groceries. You
Right.
can look around and see if they have had their house clean, their room clean. Um, you know, how do they look presentable? Have they had a shower?
Right.
You can tell certain things when you see them. So even if you are the family member that lives in Florida, but your parents are in South Carolina and they might be at an assisted living home or a nursing home, get a friend, get another family member, get somebody else to go to that place where they're at, their home, wherever, to get them to lay eyes on that person so they get to see. And I will tell you, as much as I believe that there are good people in these homes that care for our older adults, I have been there as a nurse, as an executive director, as a resident care coordinator, and I've seen, unfortunately, that unless you have somebody going there to check on your family member, they don't always get prioritized. But if you got somebody going in there checking on them all the time, you better believe they're going to do what they're supposed to do. Now, that is, it's not right, because everybody is an important person in that place.
Right.
But unfortunately, some places you're only going to get looked after if there's someone that you know that's coming to visit, and they are
Absolutely.
about that life when it comes to their parent.
You're absolutely right. You know, when my mom was in the hospital for 3 months, they knew that they were going to have to give attention to my mom because they saw the clothes that I brought with me. They knew I was moving into that room until my mom had the care that she needed. And I was there. I asked questions, I took notes. You know,
Yes.
as caregivers, you know, I did what I could to assist the doctors and the nurses who were caring for my mom so that my mom could come out, you know, on the other side, you know. So and it worked great, you know. So we need to be visible, is what we're trying to say here. When you have a family member who's in a assisted living, they're in the hospital, someone need to be visible from the family side so that proper care and attention is given to your family member.
That's
That's
exactly
very
right.
important.
And
Yeah.
I mean, I know that we're probably off script, but I'm telling you, you are bringing out some great things, and my mind is going all over the place. And I'm like, he is hitting these pieces that are so important, because when you talked about moving in, making sure that you were there with your mom and talking to those healthcare professionals, you were
Yeah.
navigating the healthcare system for your loved one.
Yes.
You were making sure that they had everything they needed, and they were going through the process of that system with no stones unturned, you know?
Right.
So, I mean, it's hard when you got to take them to the doctor, when you got to be there when they have those situations like that, when you got to get medication, when you got to have conversations and you don't have a health background, or you do have a health background. It's hard, it's tough.
Um,
So all of you family members and caregivers that are out there doing that, you need to pat yourself on the back, because you're doing a God thing, and you're going to be
Absolutely.
blessed for it in the end. But navigating the healthcare system is very important, because it's how we maneuver our loved one, even ourselves, through the healthcare industry. And hopefully, we are wanting the system to give us back what we put in it. You
Right.
know, we expect to go to these places and get a return on our investment. We're paying to be there, and
Exactly.
we want somebody to give us that return on our investment. I never want anybody to experience poor bedside manners or poor care. Unfortunately, it happens. But you got to be an advocate. And this is what we're saying today, that you have to advocate for older adults. You got to
Yeah.
keep them involved. You got to have all these things in place that we're mentioning, because this is overall well-being for them, so that they can live that life of feeling like their life has been enough to give back to others, and they can
That's right.
feel that contentment, you know.
Right. Right. And if they have, say they have a mom or a grandmother who is physically active, how can physical activity help with the overall well-being of adults there? You know, if you could speak about that, you know, and how can we as children and as grandchildren, as caregivers, how can we encourage them to stay active? You know, are there any pointers that you have to us when it comes to that?
Oh, absolutely. So regular physical activity is crucial for maintaining um, mobility, first of all, because as we age, we start to fall. Unfortunately, we start to lose sense of coordination. So when we have regular physical activity, it allows us to continue to be mobile. Okay. It also prevents us from getting chronic diseases, and it improves our mood in older adults. So when you're working out, you feel good about yourself. You have a sense of pride about the fact that you're taking care of yourself. So we all heard CDC. We know what that stands for, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. It recommends that older adults aim for at least 150 minutes of moderate exercise in a week. Okay, so if you want to break that down, just try to do about 15 to 20 minutes a day. But you can walk, join a walking group, because a person like me, I have to be motivated. So if I know somebody else is walking and they're coming by to say, hey, it's time to go for a stroll, then I'm more likely going to go. So encourage one another to do this. Even get yourself involved in different groups that can help you stay active. But there are other things. If you can't walk per se, you can do chair exercises. But there's so many things that you can do to stay active, and it will help you in the end. But reach out to those places that I mentioned before, like the senior community centers. I know even at the Council on Aging, they have regular exercise classes. There's even silver sneakers in most communities as well. But physical activity is needed. Okay, we can have our mind together, but our physical out attack, it goes hand in hand. So everything connects. Remember that everything connects: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. All of those connect so that we can stay healthy. And if you have questions about how to contact someone in your area to stay connected or to prevent the social isolation and the lack of companionship and engagement, please put it in the comments and I'll be happy to direct you somewhere.
It's great to hear you mention when they're staying active, exercising in a group. So I'm give a shout out because I've witnessed and I've seen this happen. St. Paul United Methodist Church, they had a group of elderly together and they exercise together. They meet on a regular basis. So I just want to give that shout out to them because I think that's important, you know. Nice heel. You're on the map now. So,
right.
but I think that's very important there. And like you said, it encourages, you know, someone to stay motivated, you know, to keep to stay the course, you know, to keep staying active there, you know. So I want to encourage. I don't know if those who are listening, if your church currently have a group for the elderly, do they get together and take a nice walk or exercise in the Family Life Center, wherever that may be in your church there? But it's important that you do that as a group to keep each other motivated and staying active there. So I was happy to see that they were doing it.
That's right, and that's accountability. That's having somebody to keep you active and to hold you accountable for the things that you need to be doing. And that's amazing that St. Paul's doing that. So anybody heard that? They can connect with them. Is this something that people can call? They can call the church even if they're not a member. Do you know that, and be a part of this group?
I'm not sure, but I'm pretty well, I'm not sure. They can contact the church, St. Paul in Camden, South Carolina, Knights Hill, and ask them if a non-member can join the group. I will tell you that the ladies look friendly, so I don't think it would be a problem, but I just need to find out how they got that coordinated there as well, you know. But if anybody's concerned and you want to be a part of that group, you can definitely post in the comment section, and I'll be glad to get you connected to someone from that church there so that you can ask them if you live close by there. And if your church is doing that, put it in the comment section. Say, hey, we're doing that. Give your church a shout out. Put your church name, put what city, what state your church is in, and give a shout out, the name of your organization and exactly what you guys are doing so that people can see those ideas. They can see those ideas flowing. They can incorporate those ideas at their church and we have more elderly people connected together and keeping each other motivated and encouraged. So that's a good thing.
That's right. Because
Yeah.
when when we look at other people doing other things, it's not for us to say, um, "Oh Lord, I wish I could have did that," and start comparing and come from a negative standpoint. But as you said, if you're not doing it, get ideas from someone else that is, because you can bring that to your
Right.
area. Now we're
Yeah.
helping more people when we do that. So
Right.
it's about being at the table to hear what other people are doing to motivate you to do something inspiring in your community for these older adults. Now, when you go out there and do physical activity, you also got to eat right.
That's right.
Now,
That's
I got
right.
to talk to
Yeah.
myself on that one.
Hey, it's like you read my mind, because that was my next thing that I was going to talk about is nutrition. I want to know, how does nutrition play a role into, the overall well-being of our elderly, and are there some dietary recommendations that you have, or that you would recommend, that's particularly important for our elderly?
Well, the first thing is, don't call Dr. Timothy's wife to get that pound cake.
No,
That's
don't come here. We'll load grandma up with some sweets. I bake pecan pies. My wife baked pound cakes.
Oh
We're
my
no
goodness.
good.
No, okay. So, we got to stay away from that, because diabetes, heart disease, all those
Yeah.
are chronic illnesses we want to stay away from. But when you have your plate of food, that your portions, there needs to be more vegetables and fruit than your carbohydrates. Okay. You need, and your starches. Those things are necessary, but you need to kind of cut down on that. But proper nutrition, that's just evident, that is essential. Just like physical activity, like I said, for maintaining your overall health, and malnutrition, okay, among older adults, are prevalent too. So that's why laying eyes on people can let you know if that person is eating. So not only do we need proper nutrition, but we want to make sure that we're getting it on a regular basis, so we're not malnourished. Okay. But according to the National Council on Aging, approximately 1 in 4 older adults, they suffer from poor nutrition.
Mm.
They suffer from it. I'm so glad. I think even St. Paul and some other
Mhm.
churches around the area, they have where you can get groceries at times. Look at the Meals on Wheels that I mentioned for Council on Aging. They give you meals that line up to be a balanced diet. So you gotta eat an enriched diet. That
Yes.
diet has to be fruits, vegetables. Just to give you an example, whole grains. They gotta be proteins, lean proteins, okay, and healthy
Yes.
fats. So you want to support your health and your well-being, because when you eat stuff, I know this for a fact, because I said this the other day. If you eat fried chicken, I'm not saying you can't eat a piece of fried chicken every now and then, but if you eat fried chicken and you eat macaroni and cheese, you eat collard greens, you eat cornbread, and you eat yams, when you finish eating that plate, you don't want to do anything, you want to go to sleep. So immediately you take even exercising out of the equation when you get done, because you want to lay it down.
Right.
On the other hand, say you have a piece of salmon on your plate. You have some nice vegetables, asparagus or Brussels sprouts or broccoli or something like that. Um, and then you may have a sweet potato, okay? And I mean, if y'all are in the audience and heard what I just said, you feel lighter after the second plate that you eat. You feel heavy after the first one, because all those things, the grease, the fat, and everything, they're in your body working against it. and it's tearing it down, making you lazy, not giving you the energy that's necessary. So eat right, y'all. And I'm talking to myself while I'm talking to you all, because I love me a piece of fried chicken. And can't nobody fried chicken like my mama Jean Hayes.
I can witness that myself. Your mom can fry some chicken. Thank you, thank you, thank you. She can fry some chicken. But what we're saying, guys, everything in moderation and
In moderation.
portion sizes. If we would just watch our portion sizes, I think that would help us in so many ways there, making sure that we have more vegetable and then fruit, and then more of both of those things than our starches there and carbohydrates. Those things are important. And so I see this topic as not just being information for our elderly, but it's good for our adults and our young adults as well there too. Because as you continue to live, you'll also become elderly.
That's
Yes.
exactly right.
So she's putting out some golden nuggets. She's putting out some great information that you can work on now in your 20s and your 30s and your 40s, so that as you get into your 70s, you're a lot better than you would have been if you didn't incorporate some of those tips into your daily lifestyle. As you said, going out for a walk. A lot of our adults, they're doing that on a daily basis, and that's great. That's something that in this household, my wife, she's trying to do more of that. When I can, I try to join in and walk with her, so that I'm staying active. We did it yesterday and everything. So it's consistency that matters. Consistently staying active and doing those things is very important. And what I wanted to talk to you about too, because you said something earlier about if you don't use it, you lose it. So can you kind of talk a little bit about cognitive and keeping the mental sharp? People say crossword puzzles are good because it's keeping people active. Trying to put puzzles together is keeping the brain sharp. You're using the brain. It's keeping those neurons up there firing and
That's
everything.
right.
Talk about that a little bit about that and it being important in the overall well-being of our elders.
I tell you, when you said neurons, I'm like, okay, because I've started back into school for registered nurse that leads me to nurse practitioner, and this past week, that's all we've been studying is about neurons.
Oh,
I'm like, okay, he reminded me of
wow.
my content, but engaging in mentally stimulating activities, like you mentioned, the puzzles, reading, even learning new skills, it allows you to preserve your cognitive function. So when you see all those crossword puzzles and different things that we don't like to pick up and get for our older adults, we need to stock up on that. Okay. um, because what it's doing is it's reducing the risk of cognitive impairment in our older adults. We've heard of dementia, Alzheimer's. Okay. So we want to make sure that we stay on top of having something that stimulates our mind. Okay. um, and even the elderly that are not engaged with people that are around them can do things like this so that their mind can stay healthy. But research shows that when you get these activities down, the puzzles, the reading, you're learning new skills, things that you haven't done before. So if there's a new skill that you're learning, what we mean by that is your mind is now focused on trying to understand that task. So your mind is working to build on that new skill. Those things suggest that cognitively stimulating activities, it lowers the risk of you developing Alzheimer's disease by up to 50%.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So
That's good.
that research was published in a journal. The acronym is JAMA Neurology. Okay. But they suggest that cognitively stimulating activities may lower the risk of developing Alzheimer's disease by up to 50%. So You want to keep your mind stimulated. You want to be active in the mind. You want to do those crossword puzzles. You want to do those word search. Um, you want to do any kind of puzzles. You want to read and join a book club.
Right.
Okay, join other people that are doing these different activities, so you don't feel like you're having to do it on your own. And then keeping the mind stimulated allows the mind to be working. And as Dr. Timothy Brown stated, your neurons, those synapses, those things are triggering, and it's working. Okay,
Yes.
and it's keeping it sharp and it's keeping it intact. And that's what we need. We need that balance, mind, body, soul. Okay, we need everything to feed off of everything. So what can we do as loved ones? We can go get some of these materials for our family members. And what can we do if we are far away? We can tell a friend or somebody we know to get it for our family members, or we can deliver it ourselves to the nursing homes or the assisted living communities for a family member or loved one that we know, so we can make sure that they're staying stimulated mentally.
Right. And guys, just think about a lot of the elderly are involved in bingo. It's
Yes.
stimulated. They have to hear, they have to search for it, see if they got it, cover it, start thinking about what else I need to get bingo. It keeps them active, it keeps their mind sharp. They're having to use it. If they're involved in anything where they have to count money, I applaud my 90-year-old friend because with her business, she's always having to count money back to people, count money to make sure she got the right amount of money from them. It's keeping her active, her sharp mental is still there. So that's very important to make sure that you're stimulating your brain,
That's right.
reducing the risk of Alzheimer's disease. Wow,
That's exactly
that's
right.
incredible.
It
That's
is.
good information. That's
And for
good
those
information.
and for those who want to know more about Alzheimer's, I'm not an Alzheimer's expert. There are people out there that have studied Alzheimer's. They study um, dementia. You can call, like we said, your council on aging, your area agencies. You can speak with the department on aging. And there's sometimes free classes and webinars that will give you the basic information you need to know about this disease so that you're educated. But in the meantime, you need to stay stimulated. And if you have something going on mentally or cognitively, and you're starting to see a pattern occur with memory, you need to reach out to your primary physician so that they can go ahead and get on top of it, give you a referral to a neurologist so that you can combat whatever is happening ASAP.
Good, good. So I got two questions here. We could probably address one, then to the other. Because of your work and the great work that you continue to do, I want to say I'm proud of you for everything that you continue to do. You are growing, and I'm not going to get on it too much, but I mean, you had this huge event. I wish I could have attended just recently there, but I mean, I continue to watch you through social media. You continue to impact lives in a positive way, and I applaud you. I want to give you your flowers right now while you can
So
hear them. I'm proud of you. So keep up the great work that you're doing. With your work, I'm sure you see a lot of challenges that our seniors are facing when it comes to emotional well-being, and I just wanted you to speak about that. And for some of those who may not be technically, savvy and things of that sort there, talking about technology that can be leveraged to support our elderly adults there and support the well-being of our older adults as well there. So
okay.
just two questions that I kind of threw out there to you. You can address both or you can address one.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you saying what you said. Um, I love what I do, and anytime I can make an impact is better to impact than impress. So
Yeah.
I'm a servant at heart, and going to keep taking care of those that took care of us. But older adults, they face challenges, but so earlier in the show, you talked about the 90-something-year-old that had lost a loved one. So that's a part of emotional well-being, because when they face the challenges, like losing a loved one, they get a chronic illness that they didn't think that they would acquire. So it's terminal, or they go through retirement. So it impacts their emotional well-being. Those things could be traumatic. For them. So we have to build emotional resilience through activities. We had a live before, my sister and I, who's a therapist, that talked about mindfulness meditation. Okay, so intentionally meditating. Okay, going to support groups so that you can talk about the things that are bothering you. And therapy can help seniors cope with life stressors. We, as a Black community, we have a stigma around therapy. Once we hear somebody say we need to go to therapy, um, first person, well, I mean, the first thing a person say, because I heard it growing up, I ain't crazy. It doesn't mean that you're crazy because you're going to talk to somebody about what you're going through. It's
Right.
needed, okay?
Right.
You can't handle all those emotions on your own. So once
Right.
again, back to that CDC that we all heard when we had that COVID outbreak. Older adults who engage in regular social activities, and I know y'all tired of us saying engaging.
Important.
And they maintain strong social networks. They are less likely to experience depression, because all of these challenges that they face, all the things that they have to cope with,
Yes.
it will almost make somebody lose their mind, which
Exactly.
leads to depression. So, support groups, mindfulness meditation, therapy to help you cope. Okay. And then, because I know we're running out of time, but the leveraging technology that you talked about, it once again keeps our older adults connected with their loved ones. They can access healthcare services remotely now. Look at all these people doing telehealth.
Yes.
You can stay connected to your primary physician, and then um, you can engage in cognitive stimulation activities. You can go on there and play bingo now. I saw where you can play bingo on your phone.
You
There are
can.
games you can play on your phone. Okay.
Yes.
But around 73% of adults age 65 or older who use the internet, um, they they have more abilities to keep their cognitive level up. Okay, so get on a computer, get on your phone, learn how to use it. I know it scares some older adults, because I'm telling you, I run into some, they're like, I don't even know how to cut it on. That thing scares me, but I promise you, cutting it on and knowing how to get to where you need to get to, it will help you stay stimulated. Okay, it will help you with your well-being. So just learn it. And if you come to our Senior and Caregiver Expo this year, you'll have somebody who will be there who is a person that is has a background in computer science that will help you learn how to turn it on, turn it off, learn how to maneuver it to get to a Word document, an email, internet. And there are other places like these community centers that can help you do that as well. So all of these things go back to what we talked about earlier: emotional well-being, because you're staying active, you're staying involved, you're eating right, you know, you're taking care of your body. It's all a connection to help
Yeah.
you be the best you that you could be. Aging, I always say aging is inevitable. Okay,
Right.
aging is inevitable, but it should not be something that we don't want to do. Okay, it should still be graceful. It's
Right.
inevitable, but it shouldn't be something that allows us to not be joyful when we're doing it. Okay,
Celebrate
it's
your birthdays. Be happy you're alive for another year. You know?
yes. I mean,
Yes.
aging is the thing. You can still look good. Look at the 90-year-old I keep referring back to. You can
Yes.
still look good, feel good, be
Yep.
good,
That's right.
and be
That's
older.
right. It
Yes,
all starts right here, guys. It's
right
what you think.
inside. Yes.
Yes. You have to have the right mindset in anything that you're doing. You have to have the right mindset. If you don't have the right mindset, it can destroy your whole day. That's why I always encourage people, when you wake up in the morning, make sure you have a positive mindset. You know, I'm Mr. Positivity on social media. So I'll talk
Yes,
about starting your day out with a positive mindset, whether that's a positive thought or a positive word about yourself, speaking positive words over your life, or just listening to a positive message or a positive song when you wake up in the morning. When you do those things, it jumpstarts your day, you know, and
yes,
that's why we need to encourage our elderly, you know. And I go back to my mom again, you know, as we're wrapping this up. When she was in the hospital, I played positive music in her room to keep her mind on positivity, keep her
yes,
mind in the state that it needed to be so that she could be encouraged. That will
yes,
help push her and motivate her, knowing that, hey, I may be feeling this way, but I can get through this. I may be in this situation, but I'm gonna come through this, you know.
yes,
So just want to encourage you guys. You're listening. You could be one of our seniors, or you could be a caregiver for one of our seniors. These are some great discussions and great topics that we've had today. And I hope that something we said will help you as a caregiver or as a senior or as someone in the community who's looking to incorporate something at your church that's not there. You know, think about some of the things that you don't have or that you may have heard about here and that you can incorporate in your church to make your community stronger and more supportive of our elderly, because we're trying to promote mental well-being among the elderly. And Nurse Keisha Hayes has laid out the foundation. She's given us some guidance, and all you got to do is just replay this session from today, and you'll take great notes on how you can be supportive to an elderly in your community or in your family or in your church. And we thank you for being on the show tonight. And I want to allow you to tell our listening audience if they want to follow you, if you got any upcoming events, and how they can stay in tune, being connected with you and some of the events that you continue to do in your community as well.
thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this. I want to give a shout out to all the caregivers and family members who are taking care of older adults. You play a vital role in supporting the well-being of our older adults. Without you, you know, we could not be who we are to even support them. So kudos to you. But you can reach out to us by going to caringforagingbeauties.com. That will show you all of the events that we do in our nonprofit. And coming up, we're having our Senior and Caregiver Expo. You'll have more information on that in September. And then in December is our annual Making a Difference in You Caregiver Gala. So caringforagingbeauties.com, get in touch with us. And if you want to collaborate and allow us to help you with something dealing with an older adult, we'll be happy to do that as well. Thank you for this space and time. It's been amazing.
It has been a pleasure having you on with us, Nurse Keisha Hayes. I applaud you for all the great information that you've delivered. You dropped a lot of golden nuggets on us tonight. And guys, as you go to that website, caringforagingbeauties.com, right on the right hand side, there's a purple box where you can donate and allow them to continue to do the great things that they're doing for the community and for promoting the well-being, mental well-being for our elderly there as well. So thank you. We'll put it in the comment section if we can as well, so that you have access to that website. You can just click on it and go to it and learn more about all of the great things that they have to offer to you. Thank you so much again. I hope that in the future, maybe in 2025, we can have you back again on a different topic, or maybe just updating us on all the great things that you have done in 2024 when it comes to supporting our elderly. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Guys, thank you for tuning in for another round of Protecting the Vision. We just talked about promoting the mental well-being among the elderly, and wow, this was a great topic. Nurse Keisha Hayes just delivered some awesome wisdom to our listening audience, and I'm so glad that we had her on as a guest speaker. I want you guys to tune in. Next month, we're going to have a different speaker on a different topic. You can find our current webinars on our YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel called National Optometric Foundation that you can go and get those previous webinars and share this current webinar with your family and friends in your church. We have a website called nationaloptometricfoundation.com. You can go and learn more about what we do, see some pictures up there, learn more about our officers. Dr. Andre Whitehead is the president of the NOF, and we'll be glad to have you on as a friend of the NOF if you so desire. You can also go to our Facebook page, National Optometric Foundation. We constantly are posting things on our Facebook page to keep you engaged and connected to what the NOF is doing. And if you would like to contribute and allow us to continue to do the great things that we're doing, there's our Cash App, $ Protecting the Vision. We'll continue to talk about the 3 silent killers of vision, promoting education in communities, supporting the NOA financially, supporting our future leaders, our future optometry students who are currently in optometry school, thinking about going to optometry school. We will do what we can, and we thank all of you who have donated, those of you who are sponsors, who continue to allow us to do this great thing. VSP, we thank you. We thank all of you for your contribution to the NOF. My name is Dr. Timothy Brown, Treasurer for the National Optometric Foundation, and I am signing off. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you on our next webinar.